Hello everybody. Welcome to your first lesson. The method that I like to teach out of is this Edna Mae Burnam's books. It's the step-by-step piano course. I've done several different methods, but I find that this one is a really good one to start off with. I also do like to use the Shams piano method. And if you purchase this book, you will also see that you get step-by-step and the pieces to play. Both of those books are good to get. They're not very expensive. I think they're, this was like $5.99. I think this is $4.99. So they're very affordable. And so we're just going to start here on the first book here, and we'll kind of go over a few things for this first lesson, and I'm going to just pass along all my little tips that I've learned along the way with teaching. Let's see here. So I'm going to skip this. If you get the book, just go ahead and read through this first page, or page 5 actually. And again, I'm going to skip some of the really super basic stuff and just give you, I think, just it's kind of the more important things that you need to know. I mean, this is obvious. The fingers on your hands. Your thumb is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So important to know your finger numbers. And they're starting off with showing you how the piano was laid out. And so you'll notice how it's arranged. You've got 2 black keys and you've got 3 black keys. And again, they're telling you to see how many groups of black keys you can find. That's all pretty straightforward. Okay, nothing to be confused about there. And again, if you're a complete beginner, you go through and just familiarize yourself with that. The black keys are there. The black keys are actually the sharps and the flats. And again, I don't want to get into too much theory since this is going to be the first lesson. And also the black keys help the piano player find their way around the piano too. When they're playing, you can kind of feel where you're at. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find middle C on the keyboard. And middle C, like on my keyboard, it's normally going to be somewhere in the middle of your keyboard. That's why they call it middle C, I would imagine. And every instrument, like on the guitar, middle C is, you know, obviously in a completely different place. And actually much lower on the guitar than you would think, which is interesting. But this is the middle C, and you will notice this to the left of the 2 black notes. Okay, and these are all C's. So you want to go through, make sure you can find all those C's. And we have on piano, we have the treble clef and the bass clef. Luckily, like on guitar, where we play mostly in the treble clef, and you can see the symbol here, your treble clef symbol or your bass clef. I'll go into detail later on, explaining more about the clef. The treble clef is actually known as the G clef, and this little circle that this staff makes actually goes right through the G. If you look at it really close, you'll see at the very bottom of the symbol it circles the line that would be G. And then the bass clef is known as the F clef, and you'll see again this symbol. I don't know if I'm zooming in on this, but that little symbol where the 2 dots are, that actually is the ledger line, or the staff line that is the F note. Okay, again, don't lose any sleep over that right now. Okay, so you have your treble clef and your bass clef, and what I like about this book is they start you off on page 9 with you know, describing the grand staff, and they're showing you how, you know, you're going to read from left to right. And this whole white area they call middle C's play yard, which I like. And you're just going to imagine the staff as a fence Okay, and I kind of like the analogy that they use there, and it just says this is a fence on two sides of the play yard. There's a fancy iron gate to go into the play yard, and there's a double bar iron gate at the end. So this is all pretty straightforward. And it says middle C never goes out of the play yard. Okay, and we're going to have a couple more notes as well. So, and then again, so when we get down to the bottom of the page, they're just showing you pictures of middle C. And you can see, you know, when you get the book, I mean, I guess you're probably going to have to get this book to do these lessons. I'll see if I can zoom in on this so you can see the pictures of middle C. Okay, and so you can have a white without a stem, you can have a black stem, okay, you can have a white stem, a white with stem. The white note without a stem is a whole note. That means you would get 4 beats. And again, I'm not going to explain too much of that right now. You'll see when we get into the music a little bit more. But what you'll notice more than anything is the middle C is in this play yard area, and it has the ledger line that goes through it, this little line that goes through. Okay? And these are all different pictures of middle C. Again, you'll see how this all fits together as we go along. Okay, on page 10, again, they're showing you pictures of middle C. And I might maybe see if I can get maybe take some snapshots of this and put it in the video. Again, this is just going to be really basic. This should be fairly easy for you to understand, I think. That's kind of why I like this book, just because of the simplicity. So first we're going to play middle C. Also let me back up a second here too. On this page right here, page 10 says, here's a picture of middle C with a stem pointing up. Is the stem to the right or the left of middle C? So they're saying when the stem goes up, you must play middle C on the hand that is the same side as the stem. So that means if the stem is on the right, you're going to play with your right hand. If it's on the left, you're going to play with your left hand. And again, don't worry about that. That's not going to really show up for quite some time. And it comes in handy when you get into more complex note reading, but again, it's not anything to worry about right now. The more important thing is the finger number. You'll see here on this first mark here, they're showing you 1, which would be your thumb, okay? And so you're going to play C with your right hand. Remember, treble clef is the right hand, and you're going to play just with your thumb. And then when we get over to this next page, you can see that middle C, the stem is on the left. Okay, and now you're going to play that with your left hand. Okay, and then here are more middle C's. We're going to go down to this diagram on the bottom of page 11. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Okay, and then on page 12, they're just explaining more about the measures and the bar lines and all that good stuff. So again, if you're a beginner student, just read through this page. That's all pretty straightforward. Doesn't need much explaining in a video. But we will go down here to bottom of page 12, where you can count 3 kinds of middle C's. When the middle C is the black and has a stem, it sings long enough to count 1. So that's a quarter note. So quarter notes would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. When middle C is white and has a stem, it sings longer, or you hold it longer, long enough for you to count 1, 2. Okay, so that's a half note, so that would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then the one without the stem is a whole note, and it lasts for 4 beats or sings for 4 beats, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we have the time signature, which is you can have 2, 4, which means each measure. And again, if we go back to this page up here, you know, here's your measure. So if it's 2, 4, each of these measures is going to get 2 beats. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. If you were in 3, 4 time or waltz time, you would get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And in 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, so forth and so on. So that's how that works. So on Tiptoe, we'll go through and do this very first song, okay? Again, get your book out and you can follow along. So you just have two C's with your right hand, okay, which because it's in treble clef. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And notice where my thumbs are also, that I'm not at the very end like a lot of people will play like this, or they'll play with their hands down. Remember to get your thumbs, you know, while you're starting, because see, if the closer you are up to the piano when you're playing chords, it'll be easier for you to reach other notes, okay? Okay, so just be aware of that. You don't want to be at the very tip of the key, okay? Okay, so again, I'm just kind of skimming over the stuff at the very beginning. I really feel that most of these pages are self-explanatory. So page 14, we're going to go to 4/4. And we're going to do hop and stop. So again, remember 4/4 timing means you get 4 beats per measure. You can count, you can clap and count the piece. You know, sometimes that comes in handy. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you've got this. Again, they're on treble clef. So remember, when you're on treble clef, that's your right hand. And we're still using our thumbs, which are fingers number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then I'm going to skip down. We'll do popcorn. Pretty much the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that completes the first section. That should be fairly easy for you. Now we go on to the next note. So we're going to do the note D on the keyboard. This one here is pretty easy to remember, and I'll show you some of my little memory tricks that I've came up with over the years on this one. First you should find all the D notes. So remember how the keyboard was laid out. You have a group of 2 black notes and a group of 3 black notes. Well, D is right between your 2 black notes, okay? And again, these come in handy because, you know, when you're playing the piano, you can kind of feel where these keys are, okay? Okay, so D, we could call the dog, okay? And I like to use this analogy, like if you think of D as dog, and here's all your D notes, okay? And if you picture D as a dog, these little black notes here at the top, those are his ears flopping in the air. And maybe these are like his feet here on either side of it, okay? So that's your D, all your D notes, okay? And another thing that's good about associating D, you know, with dog, you can use like any kind of letters you want to, is that D works good because if we go now to the treble clef, you will see that this is your D. Remember, we were picturing this as a fence. See how the dog or the D is underneath the fence. So think of how your dog sometimes likes to dig under the fence. I don't know if you've ever had a dog that's done that before. I used to have one that would dig under the fence all the time. So think of the dog as digging underneath the fence, so you won't forget that, okay? So it says, remember that D is a note between two black keys. D does not have a ledger line through it. So remember, C had the ledger line. And normally in this book they had the C like in the very middle of the staff, or in the very middle of the play area, so it was kind of hard to tell whether it was on bass or treble clef, but that's why they had the line, the stem going either right or left. But normally the middle C, they're going to put it closer to the treble clef or the bass clef, so you will know which hand you're playing it with. Okay, so now back to D. So D is in middle C's play yard. It can only be played in the top of it. So again, you'll notice that D is the top, towards the top of the play yard, and you're going to use your second finger. So the second finger is going to play your D. So you have C with your thumb. Second finger is going to play D. So now we're going to play Sleep. We're on page 15. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's do On the Bus. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we do the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's On the Bus. Again, I'm going to zip through these first pieces pretty quickly until we get into something that has a little bit more substance. Just remember, you're in the key of C. Okay, now D on the keyboard continue, we're going to do Rain. So again, they're starting with number 2. You will see this number 2. See that number 2 right there at the very top? That's telling you that's your second finger. Okay, so 1, 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the next one, Leaves. We're starting with your C. Again, you're on treble clef. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's pretty easy to do. And now we're going to go on to the bottom of the page for the B on the keyboard. Okay, the B. So we with the D, we're starting with middle C. We're going up. That was the D. When we go down, that note is going to be the B. Okay, and that's going to be played with the second finger. So you can kind of see where we're going with this. You know, we're starting on middle C, and the right hand's going up, and the left hand is going down. Okay, so pictures of B. Let me show you this. This is kind of another little fun thing here. Look where B is in middle C's playground. It's on the top of the fence again. So this is the play area, this white area in the middle. Remember, D was under the fence. B is going to be on top of the fence, and we're going to call B Birdie. Okay. And who sits on top of the fence? The birdie does, okay? So think of B as the birdie on top of the fence. So there's your B, okay? So now on Boat Song, well, let me read this little excerpt they have here. B is in middle C's play yard. It can be played in the bottom of it. Use the second finger of your left hand to play B. Okay, so there it is. So now the Boat Song is again, note that you are now on bass clef, and if you see, look where the C note is now. Remember what I was telling you earlier, that normally they will put the C closer to the clef that it's on. When we first started, they had it on the middle. That's why we needed the stems, but you can see it's really obvious that that C is played on bass clef. And again, the stem is on the left side, like it should be. So Boat Song is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I'll do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then the drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So you'll notice that the number 2 fingers, this will be showing up a lot. The number 2 fingers always play the B and the D. You want to keep that in mind, okay? Let's do the hammock next. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. The next piece is called the woodpecker, and this is coming up in the third measure of this piece, where we are going to play that the B and the D together. So you want to get really used to this. The woodpecker is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, that B and that D you play together. So now on with the third note. So the third note is the E. Okay, so E is to the right of the two black notes. So remember, we had our doggy here. Here's the C, which is to the left. The E is to the right of your two black notes. And again, you want to go through and find all your E's, especially if you're just getting started. Some people have started playing piano and you know, maybe just coming back and getting back into it or something. So a lot of this stuff will be self-explanatory. On page 19, I'm not going to go into too much detail. They're just showing you the grand staff. So the whole thing, you know, when you have the whole two lines, the bass clef and treble clef, this is known as the grand staff. Okay, and you can see over here, they're showing you that. And then we have our again, treble clef showing that the right hand usually plays the treble clef and the left hand usually plays the bass clef, okay? Although that won't happen all the time, and you know, that's one of the reasons I like to use this book. It's pretty easy. A lot of books really go from 0 to 90 really quickly, and it gets very confusing when they start switching hands and notes and all that stuff, and that's why, like, a lot of people get so frustrated and give up easily on piano. But this course stays pretty even throughout. That's one of the things I like about this. Although the pieces are pretty easy to play, but it keeps you from getting frustrated. Okay, so let's look at E. You'll notice that it says here are some pictures of E. Okay, and it says now E is not in middle C's playground. Okay, and you can see that E is on the very first line of the treble clef, okay? Again, you're going to play the E with the third finger of your right hand. And so you have to remember that that E is no longer, we were out of the playground. There were 3 notes that were in the playground. So E is going to be your third finger, okay? So now we have one, well, I'm not going to do that exercise there. It's just showing you the different notes. Let's go down to Sing to Me. So you're in 2/4. You're starting with the treble clef. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Okay, let's go on to the shoe cobbler on page 20. Here's that B and that D routine. Okay, let me do that again. Okay, the rain is, again, we're still doing pretty much the same thing. Here's that B. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so continuing on with our theme, we're going to go down to the left to the A note, okay? So I would suggest you find all the A notes on the piano, okay? This really low one on the, I'm out of the picture, but on an 88 key keyboard, the very last one is A on the far left. I forget that my video only goes so far. Okay, so that's the A. I don't have too many memory tricks for the A, okay? Other than you can kind of think of the letter A, and you can see, like, I don't want to show you my if you think of the letter A, how you have that little line that goes across it, okay? When you draw an A, you can see you have that same line. If you picture that note as an A, you have that line going through there, okay? Maybe you can think of a better way to memorize these notes, but you know, it gets really hard at first trying to memorize them. Some people have like a really good memory and they can remember these notes, especially all you young kids out there, but some of us older folks have to use little memory tricks and stuff. But so the top line, again, we're no longer in middle C's playground, so A is going to be the very top line, okay? And that's going to be your third finger. So far we've done 3 fingers on the right hand, C, D, E, and we're going to have C, B, A on the left hand. And when you start playing a piece, notice, get the big picture. Look at everything is on bass clef with kitty cat. So you're starting with the 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and let's do, and again, while I'm playing these, just pause the video. I'm just kind of going through this pretty fast. When we get to more complex pieces, I'll stop and explain it and whatnot. But this is a great starting point right here. So in the snow, you're going to go, we're 2, 4. Again, look at this where everything is in bass clef, all with your left hand. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now 2 singing, we're back to both hands. Okay, that's 2 singing. Okay, let me see where we're at with the video. Okay, I think I'm going to have to cut it short right here because this video is turning out to be 24 minutes long already. It would take so much time to go through all this. So then I would suggest for your first lesson, we're up to page 22, go through and do all these exercises. You should be able to do Crossing the Creek, do the birthday cake, soldiers. That's all pretty straightforward. And that will be a good stopping place for today's lesson, okay, up to page 23. Okay, and then if you're a student of mine, then you know you can feel free to email me or whatever if you have any questions, or if we're doing online lessons. This whole thing is new for me as far as the online lessons go with this, so we'll see how that works. But anyways, folks, thank you so much. I appreciate you watching my first piano video. We'll see how this works. If you like this, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to try to go through my whole teaching program and keep it like step by step, following along what this course does, although I do mix other courses in with it because it's too hard learning piano to stick with just one thing. Probably the next lesson I'll come back and do more of what they call band style piano. I'm going to kind of mix the two. So anyways, folks, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.